totally fall off.
Okay, you're right on.
Oh, I am?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I feel like a lot of us have started to spot this pattern. What do we see? How would we find the number of squares in pattern 43? Yeah, what you got?
So that one's 1 by 1, that one's 2 by 2. So 43 by 43, and then add 4.
Yeah. So what we have, and what we've noticed here, was that we have 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. So to get, for pattern 43, we'd do pattern 43 by 43. That would give us the middle part. And then these outside pieces, they don't change. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'd add on those 4. So what did we get as our total?
1,853.
1,853 squares. Okay? So these patterns always look kind of intimidating and a little weird sometimes, especially as they get a little more complicated on things, but it's looking to try and see what's changing, what stays the same between the things. Okay, so again, these will pop up every now and then. We just had a couple in a row here because these days are pretty short in this section, mostly because we have them short, so that if I need to combine together for multiple weather days, I can do so. All right, so we're going to look at page 8 today in your workbook. And it's a fairly short page, and this is all we're going to do today. So once we get it done, we'll have time to work on the first homework. Awesome. We'll be on page 8. I think page 8. I will double check the page numbers. Should be the coffee by the pound. The task number 4 at the top. Yeah, it's page 8. It looks like these. It is the next page after the ones we did yesterday. Oh snap! What is that? What's that? Alright, so we've got here, Lena bought some coffee. She spent $19 for 3 pounds of coffee, just about. 1896 for 3 pounds of coffee. And my first question for you is, how much is that coffee per pound? How do we find that?
Divide $18.96
Mm-hmm.
by 35.
Yeah, we're looking for cost per pound. That means we want cost per pound, so cost over weight. So if we set this up kind of like a fraction, remember we said per was kind of our code word for slope. It's really a code word for divide. So per, and okay, cool. If we're looking for cost per pound, we're looking for, whoa, not a pen. Cost.
Sorry, I'm still not.
Was not talking to you. Per pound. So to set this up and figure out what the cost per pound is, we're going to take the cost that she spent. She spent $18.96, and she bought per 3 pounds. That's a B. So what is the cost per pound of this coffee? $6.32. Well, it's not sticking to the road yet. That's good. Just keeping eyes on our snow. It's not sticking yet. Why? It's the weekend.
No practice. No practice.
Oh, I highly doubt you're gonna have. If you have outside practice, I highly doubt it. Oh yeah, it's snowing pretty good, but they're little flakes and they're not really sticking. All right. So our next question is a little bit different. How many pounds of coffee could she buy for $1? How much coffee could she buy for $1? How can we set that one up?
As a ratio.
If you go to like Whole Foods, They do sell it like in like, you know, the scoops where you can buy like the candy by the scoop. Some places will do coffee like that. So you could do it in the weigh bag and measure carefully to get to your $1. But she would need to know how much weight she would need to be able to make it have $1. Because, yeah, we're looking for the weight per dollar. So this one was cost per pound. Now we want to know pounds per cost, pounds per dollar. So we're going to set it up upside down, basically. So we want to know pounds per dollar. And I give myself very little space here. So it's looking at it the other direction. So we got to be careful when we're setting these up. Sometimes they ask us different questions. So we're going to look at our 3 pounds, and you can use the same numbers or you can use our simplified. Our 3 pounds per $18.96. And if we type that in the calculator is always going to get us to where we have a 1 on the bottom because it really, really, really wants to give us whole numbers. So when you type it in the calculator, 3 divided by 18.96, it's going to give you our pounds per dollar. So what was it? 0.158. So not even a quarter of a pound of coffee. Pounds per dollar. So if she is on the Broke Express, needing to buy her coffee by the dollar, that's enough for like a cup of coffee. Maybe. That's not very much. So
Is it okay if we did 1 divided by 6.32?
absolutely fine. You should wind up at exactly the same answer. Unless we rounded more on the thing. So it should be at least really close. Okay. So now that we've thought through these in both directions here, I want to ask what typically is going to be our independent variable and what's typically going to be our dependent variable on this. Pounds of coffee is usually independent. I'm going to say there's some wiggle room on it because, like I said, you could do like the Whole Foods where they have the granola in the bucket and they have the candy in the bucket and you do it by the scoop. So there's some places like that, but more often than not, you're buying a bag, prepackaged beep. We like the beep coffee. That's what we're thinking about here. So typically, it's going to be our pounds of coffee that's our independent. And our money that is dependent. Typically. That's, again, it's not guaranteed. It depends kind of on where you shop. There are times when it will switch, but for the most part, it's going to be independent there. So that means which piece of information is going to be our x variable? Which one is going to be x? The pounds. So our pounds is going to be an x variable. And our money is going to be a y. So you guys have a graph there. It does not have much information on it. I don't know. It's just kind of a grid. They did give us a little bit of information. They drew the axes on there. On yours at least. On mine doesn't have it. That. So on yours, it's got this side and a little arrow. And it says X. And it's got this side and a little label that says Y. Why didn't they put the grid right here in the middle? I can't buy negative pounds of coffee, nor will they pay me for my coffee, so it can't be negative money. So we're just going to live here up in these positive numbers because I'm not selling coffee, nor are they going to pay me to take their coffee, as much as I would love that. That would be awesome. If you find a place that does that, let me know. Okay, so you're going to have to label some things here. We've got some information, but I want you to give this a try. See what we can do to come up with a graph with what we have here. Give it a shot. I want you to take like 5 minutes and try and come up with a picture. The best you can do. See what we can do. I said TikTok doesn't help with graphing things. Half the parking lot's sticking. It's starting to stick on the sidewalks and stuff. Not much though. We're at barely enough to track a cat. It's not even deep enough to shovel yet. You can still see sidewalk and street and parking lines.
I know.
What's up?
It does help with that.
What does?
TikTok.
TikTok?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna help with this particular graphing question, so. As far as I'm aware, none of the crime stuff is actually on there. We have a couple of activities that would make decent TikToks. What do we do later on? Maybe I'll do a video for it. One of the activities later in this chapter might actually make it, like, there would be a decent TikTok video to go with it. It'd be fun. I'm just thinking through some of our upcoming activities that are fun. I like them. I have lots of fun in this class. All right, so we said our X's were gonna be pounds. So I'm gonna put that label down here. And we said our Y's were gonna be our cost. So it should be labeled like that. What did you guys count by for pounds down here? Whoop, that is not the laser pointer. What did you count by? I was like, you can count by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I saw some people that were like skip counting and doing like 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. I don't recommend counting by like tens or anything higher because the information we have is for, where's my highlighter? let's see, we've got 3 pounds at $19, and I've got 1 pound at $6. So I don't have huge numbers of pounds for my information. So the one that I'm going to do, I saw it on several papers. I'm going to do the skip counting where I count 1 here, and then I'm going to have 2 here, 3 here. If you counted differently, that's totally fine. Absolutely valid. Our graphs do not have to be exactly the same. They should be really similar. If your graph looks wildly different, let me know and we'll check it out. What did we count by on our cost? 5s would work. Counting by 3s would work. I probably wouldn't count by 1s this way because I need to be able to get up to our 1896 or at least close to it. And if I count by 1s, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm out of graph. So I won't even be able to get my second piece of data up there. So, oh, like mine goes up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, yours does too. Good. I just like to double check. Sometimes I steal things from other resources. So it doesn't matter what you count by. If you count by 2s, it'll get you up high enough. If you count by 3s, it'll get you up high enough. Pretty much just don't count by 1s. If you count by 10s, it's going to make it really hard to see because all your data is going to be down here. So you ideally want to get your data spread out a little farther. But other than that, I'm not super picky. I'm going to count by 2s. So this one is going to be $2. This one's going to be $4. And we're at $6. And I don't want to write every single time, so I'm going to jump and I'm going to count this one as 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And that puts 20 right here on the top, which overlaps with way too many words. So let me put 18. There we go. It's on a little flag. Kind of looks like a Mario flag. All right, so then we're going to plot up our points. The things that I have. I know 3 pounds of coffee, she spent almost $19 on. So 3 pounds of coffee is going to be up around here. So it's not all the way at 20, so we don't want to have it on that line. It's not at 18, but it's kind of right in the middle. So it's an estimate. Whenever we are graphing like this, it's an estimate. If I want pure beautification, exact gorgeousness graphs, we'll do them on the computer. Whenever we graph by hand, we get the vibe of a graph. It is not purely analytical, 100% correct gorgeousness. It is a vibe. Okay, so this point here, this is my 3 pounds of coffee, costs $18.96. What other data do we know? 1 pound of coffee costs a little bit more than $6. Is there anything else we know? We could, I was going to say, you could look at the $1 thing there. And we could go our $1 down on this spot. We could go down there and we can get our teeny tiny little amount. There's an easier one though. How much does none coffee cost? $0. So 0 coffee costs $0. So that gives us several points there. Technically, all we need is 2 points to be able to make a line. But the more points you have, the easier it is to get a decent line. It also doesn't stop there. It keeps going. That is a line, not an arrow. Here we go. It keeps going. I could buy more than 3 pounds of coffee. There's not a limit. I could keep going. I could buy 4 pounds of coffee. I could buy 12 pounds of coffee. I could buy 5 pounds of coffee. My husband buys like 6 of the big breakfast buckets of coffee at a time. He'll buy like 6 of those. We like coffee. Okay, so that's kind of the vibe of this graph. It gives us a really nice idea. The more coffee we buy, the more it's going to cost. That's what that's showing us here. And then the last question they ask us here is really similar to one they've asked us earlier. It's just having us do it at the graph. So this is the very last question for us on this page. And we want to know what the meaning of the slope is. So what is our slope here? What is our slope?
6.32 over.
Yeah, so we're looking at our rise over run. So we know from buying none coffee to buying 1 pound of coffee, this went over 1. So our run is 1. I'm just going to write it down. Rise over run. So our run is 1 pound. That's, one of those is a 1, one of those is an L. There we go. 1 pound. And how much did it rise between those two pieces of data? 6.32, because 1 pound costs $6.32. I'm so good at words today. Oh my gosh. I am the best at words. They always come out in the right order with all the right letters. So we have our slope, but what does that mean? Cost per pound. So the slope means the exact same thing as our cost per pound. Cost over pound. So it's going to be our dependent variable cost over our independent variable, dollars per pound. That's what's making the choice for us on what's changing. I change the pounds, it's gonna make it change more. Okay? Questions on this one? Okay. So, there we go. We have our first homework assignment of the semester, and you're going to have the whole rest of the time to work on it if you need it. It's the same questions that are on the next 2 pages. So if you want to do the work by hand, you can do it. You still got to type the answers in on Canvas. Do not rip the pages out to turn them in. Do not, but like scratch work, if you want to do them here, you don't have your computer, anything like that. We have it here, and then you can type them in on Canvas. It's not bad. It's not bad. You're going to be doing some comparing between a couple of people. Very similar to what we just did. Okay? So work on that. It's homework 1 up on Canvas. It should be 4-1 or topic 4 homework 1 or something like that. I genuinely forget how I worded it. Yes, dear. Yes. Oof. All right, so work on that. You guys can ask questions. I'm happy to help you with stuff. If you want to work together, it's homework. I don't really care. If you work in class, you should not have to do anything over the weekend. But if you choose to not work in class, then do it over the weekend. You look for the ones from yesterday. Okay. Just let me know if you got questions on it, dear.